Today, they have bombed my city, destroyed many houses. They didn't launch rockets. They dropped bombs, destroyed many houses.
Russian attacks intensify in Ukraine. As the battle heats up at key sites, Ukrainian leaders are urging everyday people to take up the fight.
I think right now Vladimir Putin is the most dangerous single individual in world history.
Thousands of miles from the conflict, Maine leaders say we are not out of reach for Russian attacks. The warning from Senator Angus King about online threats and why he says Putin can't win.
We used to pay about a nickel a pound. Yesterday we paid 15 cents a pound. It just means that it's going to cost the consumer more.
And a shaky supply, what the conflict in Europe means for American growers. Tonight we are getting an unsettling look at life in Borodyanka, a small town in northern Ukraine. It's been the site of fierce fighting as the Russian military pushes ahead with an invasion. Drone footage shows smashed up homes, smoldering apartments, and entire buildings demolished. We also see signs of defiance. Burned out military vehicles line the streets. Local people say they managed to successfully drive back a Russian attack. Welcome to News Center Maine at 5:30. I'm Chris Costa. Tonight, Russian forces are battling to control a key city in Ukraine's south. Enerhodar accounts for about 1/4 of the country's power production. At the same time, talks are underway between Russian and Ukrainian leaders. The two sides met today for face-to-face talks in the neighboring country of Belarus. They did not agree on terms for a ceasefire, but Ukraine says the two sides now have a tentative agreement on ways to safely evacuate citizens and deliver humanitarian aid. The UN estimates more than 1 million people already left Ukraine. Even while talks are underway to end the war in Ukraine, Russian forces are getting involved in confrontations with other nations. Today, the Swedish Air Force responded when it says Russian jets flew into its airspace. Sweden is one of dozens of nations to impose flight bans of Russian planes. The Air Force commander said his forces, quote, have complete control of the situation. As tensions ramp up in Europe, many people in Maine are wondering what it all means for them. Today, Maine Senator Angus King addressed some of those concerns. News Center Maine's Sam Rogers joins us with the details. Sam?
Yeah, Chris, Senator King covered a lot of ground during a virtual press conference today. Some big takeaways that we'll get into. First, the threat of cyber attacks, not just in Ukraine, but right here at home. Second, King explained some big miscalculations taken by Russian President Vladimir Putin. And third, the question people around the world are asking, what happens next?
I think right now Vladimir Putin is the most dangerous single individual in world history.
The world continues to watch Putin attack Ukraine. Maine Senator Angus King worries a large-scale cyber attack could be coming, not only in that country, but here in America.
The electric grid is in pretty decent shape, although not invulnerable. Water systems, on the other hand, I'm very worried about. Pipeline systems, I'm very worried about. Because we're playing catch up there in terms of cybersecurity.
During a virtual press conference Thursday, King said he's surprised Russia hasn't launched those larger cyber attacks yet, but adds Putin may not want to escalate tensions with the U.S. The independent senator went on to say the Russian president has underestimated the response from Ukraine and the world.
He spent a lot of time trying to divide us in this country and to divide us from NATO. That's utterly failed. NATO has never been more unified. I was with a military official in the last couple of days who's worked with NATO for years, said this is the most unified NATO has been in the last 30 years.
As for what's next, King says Putin's miscalculations will lead to more violence and casualties. And if Russia can take the country, King says it will be impossible to hold it.
In short, I think Putin has already lost this war. He may win the battle over the next several weeks, but in the long run, unless he wants to put a Russian soldier on every street corner in Ukraine, they're going to have an awfully hard time holding this country.
So Senator King really sounding the alarm on cyber defense, not just during that press conference, but also in recent months. Especially now, he says everyone, every Mainer and every American needs to be on alert. He says the vast majority of cyber attacks happen in the private sector. Even something as simple as shutting off your smartphone once a week or so can derail potential hacks. Also, make sure to check every email, text, or link you get sent, especially if you work in the energy or banking industry. Chris, those may seem like simple steps, but some large-scale cyber attacks happen because someone opened up the wrong link, so obviously very important to keep that in mind.
They always seem innocuous. Thanks, Sam.